Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 25, which is the final day of our exploration of inner envy. And today, our guide, the author of the Litany of Humility, evokes the words of John the Baptist. Now, when John the Baptist said the words, "I must decrease so he can increase," he was talking specifically about Jesus. He told the people following him it was part of his purpose in life to decrease so that the one who truly saves can increase. But curiously, today, the author of the Litany of Humility wasn't speaking about Jesus. He wasn't saying, "Jesus, may you increase and may I decrease." Instead, the author was talking about letting others increase and letting us decrease. And what the author is referring to here is actually one of the hardest aspects of the human journey. When life begins, it's very much about us, right? Some of the most selfish and narcissistic people on the planet are, in fact, 2-year-olds. And I've got one in my house right now, and everything for her is viewed through the lens of her needs and her wants and her desires. And she's currently, and appropriately from a developmental perspective, grappling with the startling reality that she's not all powerful and the world does not revolve around her. She's experiencing her first pass through the valley of the shadow of death, as dramatic as that may sound. It's true. She's literally experiencing one of the first and most important deaths of self-centeredness. She is experiencing this first in a long line of conversions of the part of her that wants everything to be about her for the sake of safety. All throughout her youth, though, she's going to be asked to let others increase while she decreases, even if it's just momentarily. Like she'll go to her brother's baseball game and all the intention will be about him, appropriately so. We're going to watch his game. She's going to celebrate the birthday of the people in her life, like her nana or her mom or her dad, letting at least moments of that day be about that person and not about her. She's going to go to a movie or a concert or a game, and she is going to focus on the other in the game. They are going to increase. She's going to decrease. She's going to go to school and she's going to watch other people win, get better grades, or get recognized, and she is going to watch. They're going to have their moment in the sun and increase, and she will decrease. So why? Why is this a part of life? Why do we do this? Why do we actually create systems of formation that trains the human person to have moments where it's acceptable and good and fruitful for them to decrease and let other people increase? Now, part of the reason is to be practical. It's preparing kids, it's preparing my daughter for the circle of life in a way that will ward off bitterness. As time progresses, she will be able to do less and less, and it's actually inevitable for the generations that follow her to have their time. She'll be able to endure that transition peacefully, or she is going to endure that transition bitterly. In many ways, she's training for the former. The other reason is emotional and spiritual. So, living under the fallacy of godliness or that life revolves around you is a form of tyranny. To let others increase and me decrease is to remind my inner world that I don't have to live with the burden or the delusion that I am responsible for my happiness and the happiness of the whole world. Those who continually make their lives about them, who refuse to take on responsibility, who keep trying to increase at the expense of other people decreasing, they inevitably find themselves in a miserable, shallow, immature, and increasingly meaningless life. One of the great tragedies of the mass exodus from going to church on Sunday is that people have lost their weekly reminder that they are not God. They've lost their weekly reminder that someone ought to increase and they ought to decrease. They've lost their weekly reminder that they're the created, they're the creature. And this, when it's really understood, is one of the greatest pieces of news we can ever learn. We get to be the creature. We don't have to be the creator, the God of all things. We don't have to hold the responsibility for our own salvation or the salvation of the world. When my children ask me why we have to go to church on Sunday, even though they don't want to, this is one of the reasons I give them. We go because it's important to remember that God is God and we are human. That is a relief. That is good news. That is a happy thing. And even when it's not that happy, it is really useful and fruitful for us emotionally and spiritually. So when we embrace opportunities to decrease so that others can increase, in a way, it's to practice doing what John the Baptist ultimately did at a masterful level in his public ministry, which is to intentionally and willingly decrease so that ultimately God can increase. So that others may increase and I decrease. Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it.